So, suddenly the chat line has just started hotting up, and there's a whole lot of discussion about cork insulation and hemp and the EU directive on construction products and a whole lot. It's like a world of stuff to do with energy and maintenance that is kind of why we got Ibuki together in the first place, because actually wrangling all of this information into a place that is which is available to people is the difficult thing. And we'd definitely like to talk to you more about Ischia and the charter and work that's starting up next year. We are madly over time. Apologies for that to all and everyone. I'm hoping that Scarlett will come up on the stage again, and we'll have just a couple of questions each, just to give a little bit of a flavour of the questions.
The other thing, Roland, is that if somebody wants to collect questions and email them to me, I'm sure Scarlett wouldn't mind that either. That we will answer them over the next few days.
Sure. Yeah, sure.
Good. And so we've got, it's in the chat, but just a couple of things that that I've pulled out. I'll start with one for Scarlett. One of the things that, like a theme, was about how you see the comparison between your work and building with earth bags.
Yeah, I think,
are you aware?
Yes, yeah, of course. I've learned earth bags when I joined a kind of workshop and UNESCO Earthen Architecture School. I think one of the major difference between earth bag construction and round earth fabric foam round earth construction is fabric foam rounders doesn't really do plastering. I think most of earthen bag are eventually plastered to cover the bags, or you can leave it on as it is.
So
but
this aspect,
yeah.
it's this aspect that you're taking the formwork away and you're using it again, which is the kind of the thing that is common to rammed earth generally, is that the formwork is something that moves and gets used over and over again.
Yeah.
And then there was a question about lime stabilization and whether you had added lime or you had not added lime, and had you always added lime?
No. In the first and last sample, I use lime, but proportionally, like in the middle, or I didn't use stable. I just use unstabilized rounders mixture. And in the second sample, I never use any stabilizer at all.
Yeah, and then so we've said. Graham has just asked about using trawler fishing net as formwork. I mean, okay, we're in a whole other world here now. We're in a whole other world here, people. It's not going to be very useful for people in Zimbabwe. The question about, or possibly even Texas, I don't know. But there's a lot of work to be done in this. Okay, so I'm just because we don't, we have got over time, and I'm going to just keep moving things along. I had a question for Peter about accessing EPC research, and whether you had a comment about that.
What does the question mean by accessing research in EPC performance?
Well, I'm not quite sure.
To me, they just don't work.
Right.
EPC, as I say, most of them were designed for post-1970s buildings, and therefore, and it's a tick box situation. Now, we as ICOMOS International are trying to get the authorities to change that, and we would rather have an EPC H for heritage, and that could be a wider range of things. But at the moment, it's a tick box. And as I say, they have a default. And if it's any sort of unusual wall construction, i.e. not cavity, then it gets the default, and the default generally gives about 2.2 U value to a wall, no matter what it is. Now, if you've got a stone wall or if you've got an earthen wall that's a meter thick, it's not going to be 2.2 U value. It's going to be down below 1. So the 2.2 then knocks on it and tells people to put 200 mil of insulation on it, which you don't need.
So the one little bit of EPC that we have used in Ibuki with the Coboj project was that somebody setting up EPC in the UK decided that they would include cob as a wall building type.
What?
And so we have a record of the sales and rentals of cob buildings in England and Wales since 2005. And
Right.
that's allowed us to populate a map and show how many thousands of buildings have been sold or rented in England and Wales. And that's been a fantastic tool for us because
Great,
it gives you this information. And we've tried to encourage people in other territories in Europe to see, can they get hold of that data and examine it a little bit, because in England you can actually, and Wales, you can actually download all of that information. In Scotland it's more difficult, so some of these things need nudging along.
Yep, no, they do indeed. Yep.
So look, we're madly over time. We've run over our tea break, and I think that I'm going to. So people will just have to sneak out and quickly get themselves a cup of tea. I was very kindly brought mine, but I think that we should probably go on into the next session, which is on Coboj. And so I'd like to thank both Scarlett and Peter and Ashley for your time, because great presentations and a lot of questions for you to answer coming your way.
Well, please do send them on. Yep.
And okay.